What's happening, fight fans? It's an all-new year, which means all new matchups to get you hyped up for the UFC. Tune into the fights this weekend, and don't forget, get in on all the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. They're offering all new customers $200 in bonus bets instantly after betting just $5. So don't wait. Download the DraftKings app right now. Sign up using the code SONNEN. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your $200 in bonus bets for DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. Love the thrill of live betting? DraftKings has got you covered with live markets, like Fight to Go the Distance, which makes watching the action that much more exciting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy with a shot at even bigger prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use my promo code SONNEN. Get $200 in bonus bets for any $5 wager. That's promo code SONNEN, only at DraftKings Sportsbook. I did a Twitter poll. Very unlike me, and I think there's actually a way to do a poll on Twitter. What I mean is I posted a tweet, and I gave you guys 3 options. And it goes like this. Of these 3 options, you have the power to decide, is Jon Jones going to A, fight Tom, B, fight Alex, 3, walk away. And the caveat for which one you're going to pick is not your own entertainment. Specifically, I would like to know, of those 3 options, which gains the most respect? Do you see where that changes things? The GOAT conversation is the most important conversation to any fighter. Not very many people get to be considered the GOAT. Like, I don't walk around and claim to be GOAT. I was undisputed, and I went undefeated. So you get to the conclusion that I am eligible for GOAT. And I'm not attempting to be funny. I'm trying to show the difference. Because not a whole lot of guys even get to be considered that. Like, if you were being realistic and wanted to make an argument for GOAT, but you had never had a world championship, you might sit around and go, hey, yeah, but there's some reasons why not. It sure was a hard schedule that I had. I beat some champions, but you wouldn't sincerely believe that you would be considered. So now let's say you're a champion, but you didn't hold on to it very long. You wouldn't even in your heart believe that you could be or should be considered. So now you really start to break it down to a few guys. I mean, over history, if you want to look at the size differences, at the information that we had and had to process, at importance to the sport, you're going to start with Royce, right, as a potential GOAT. And then you're going to have some guys that changed weight classes, did a little bit of what Royce did, which was have an opportunity to take on anyone, anywhere, anytime, do it and win. But that's just not very many people that got to have champ status. Then you start to get to the guys that are undefeated. And that's where names like Khabib are going to come up, and there wasn't champ. But there was a beautiful record at a very hard weight class. That's where guys that are going to have longevity, and even if it's not undefeated, but it's multiple world championships like George St. Pierre. Then you're going to have just an overall skill where you stand back and go, my goodness, this is the Michael Jordan. This athlete has a skill set unlike anyone else. And that's where Jon Jones starts to enter it. But in all fairness, and if you wanted to keep playing, what did I put out? 4 names there? Maybe I just put out 5? You'd have a hard time coming up with 10 that were very legitimate. Like if you were going to come out and you were going to debate and argue, you'd have a very hard time coming up with another 5 names that you believe you could successfully debate and argue for GOAT. All right. Simple comment by me, but it's wildly important. I mean, Jon Jones has spoke about this, how important this is. That ranking was so important that Khabib, the night he retired, asked for it. Now, I want you to stay on that thought, because anything in this sport, I can tell you how to do it. Or I can at least offer you and cite examples of how somebody else was able to do it. One that we never discuss, the one that we discuss very seldomly, because there isn't a massive conversation to have, is GOAT. And the amount of people that went to Khabib, I found interesting. And it's why I gave option C on the list of what should Jon Jones do. Option C was walk away. Because when Khabib did it, it was not met with a chorus of boos. There was not one article ever written that Khabib is leaving before he takes on the representative of the next generation. He's getting out just in time. As a matter of fact, when Khabib walked, he walked at the time of his biggest payday. Dana White made that public information. Dana White publicly had a conversation with Khabib where he flat out offered him Conor McGregor a second time. World Championship. And Dana even showed him something on his phone. He was showing him some kind of projections or numbers or an article that was written, whatever it was. But Dana was saying, man, this is the biggest thing we've got, and you're part of it. And Khabib walked. And it didn't hurt him. Now, is that because he'd already fought Conor? Is that what that was? Is it because Khabib, all of a sudden, we start to know his sincerity, which is a sport purist? Khabib walking away at the time of his biggest payday, which, by the way, he would have succeeded. And we don't really know. Like, you don't know enough to bet your car. You don't really know who would win between Aspinall and Jones. You might hope and you might be pretty sure, but boy, we better not start talking crazy, like betting your house or your 401k or something. We don't know. We very reasonably knew that Khabib would go right through Conor. We'd already seen it once, and Khabib went right through Conor. And could you imagine walking away with that opportunity? I mean, the whole reason that you got into the sport was to be champion, was to be recognized, was to get fame. Even if you're a humble guy like Khabib and you don't want to admit it, you would like people to see you and recognize that that guy is great at fill in the blank, which in this case is this sport. And that was the opportunity that Khabib had in conjunction with a whole jackpot full of money. And he said no to them all because it had already been done. He had already fought with Conor McGregor. He went through the division. There was no meaningful contender. He planned to get to 30, but at 29, he realized he had achieved his goals. That added a lot to the Khabib story. It really did. But it's a tough juxtaposition to imagine that Jon would get that same result, because the top contender and the biggest payday and the one that we want to see is not a former slowed down, current drunk cokehead. It's a younger, bigger, reigning champion. At the same time, if Jon was to leave all that money on the table and walk for whatever reason, as annoyed as you would be in the short term, I'm trying to get you to open your mind and think. And also, option B on the list, which is to cut weight. Take those pounds back off that he put on. Go after Alex Pereira. End the discussion of who the greatest light heavyweight is of all time. It's currently known as Jon, but that is shifting. I've been in a number of conversations where people are saying it's Alex. And Alex, if he doesn't come down anytime soon, I mean, if he doesn't come down in the year 2025, just for example, he's going to have another 3 wins, and he will be recognized as the greatest light heavyweight of all time. That is something that Jon could cut weight and, if he succeeded, take from him. That's a very interesting piece of the story. If Jon Jones went and did something out of spite, he went and did it not because he wanted to do it or he dreamed of doing it. He wanted to stop you from doing it. It's an interesting part of the story. And the way you leave is 9/10 of the way you will be remembered. The way you leave on your terms and in what situation and with what opportunities in front of you is how you will be remembered. Khabib walked on the cusp of his biggest payday. Jon Jones is in a position to walk on the cusp of his hardest challenge. So what do you think? If you have the power, do you have Jon fight Tom? Do you have Jon fight Alex? Do you have Jon walk away?